Hi, this is Chef Janie Pendleton, and today we're going to be making cherry bread. Now you can also call this pink cherry bread because I add the juice from the cherries into mine and I turn it pink. Also add some cherry oil or cherry extract as well to give that extra cherry kick, and it really makes a big difference than using the vanilla. So, and also add nuts like almonds, chopped almonds, walnuts, pecans. Whatever floats your boat. You can even put chocolate chips in this and make it a chocolate chip cherry bread. We're going to start out with 3 cups of bleached flour or unbleached flour, either one, it doesn't matter, just an all-purpose flour works. And we're going to take about a half a cup of that to 3/4 a cup of that, and we're going to transfer that over here into another bowl. And this is going to get, we're going to toss our cherries into this. Okay, we're going to add 1.25 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt, however you like it, a teaspoon of cherry extract, of course a jar of cherries with the juice, and 2 teaspoons of our baking powder. And then here we just have our dried buttermilk. You can either use a cup of buttermilk or you can reconstitute your cultured buttermilk, which is just a powdered form, and we're just going to add water to this until we've got a cup. And then also here we have a half a cup of vegetable or canola oil, whatever you have in the cabinet works. And normally I'll add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of applesauce to this recipe as well, and you can reduce, that helps reduce the oil. But in this recipe, to keep it from getting too dry, I usually just add the applesauce and I don't reduce the oil. Now this does make 2 loaves. So here we have some greased and floured loaf pans, and we're just going to sit these aside. Okay, now in our mixer we have added our splash guard here. We've poured our cherry juice inside of our vegetable or canola oil, and we've got enough here to make just a little less than 2 cups. 2 cups liquid there. Okay? And then here we've taken our cherries and we have sliced them, then diced them in different size pieces here, and then we've put it here on a piece of paper towel to drain. And now we're just going to set this aside, and we're going to let this drain for about 5-10 minutes. Okay, so here we still have the 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.25 cups of white sugar. Okay, we're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt. There we go. And here's 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And here we want 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Again, that's 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Just going to add that right in there. Now we're just going to take and kind of whisk all this together. Make sure you get it nice and blended. And then we're going to set this aside. Okay, so we're just going to take and reconstitute this till we got about 1 cup of liquid, maybe a little less since we added the cherry juice. And you don't have to add the buttermilk. You can add regular milk if you like. And I'm actually going to add this last because this is what I'm going to use to adjust the consistency of my bread. So we're just going to kind of reconstitute that up here real quick. Nice, that's good right there. Set that aside. I use warm water, it kind of helps the mixture a little bit. Alright, so what we're going to start with here is we're going to start with the 2 eggs. So we're going to turn this on, and we're just going to blend in our 2 large eggs. Be sure and use large eggs for this. There we go. Okay, now we're going to whisk in the oil and the cherry juices. Blend that in. And we're just going to slowly add in our reconstituted buttermilk mixture. We'll let that blend here for about 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to come over here and we're going to gather up our cherries and we're just going to toss them in this half a cup of flour. And we're just going to coat them like this, okay? Again, just going to carry this over to the mixer. Give this a nice mix with our hands. Like I said, this is just a half a cup of flour. We divided that 3 cups of flour and took out about a half cup. Nice big hefty handful. And we're just going to kind of mix our cherries in here. Get them nice and coated. See that? Okay, now we're just going to kind of set this aside. Now we're just going to gradually add our flour mixture into the cherry liquid mixture. Remember, dry goes into liquid. And we're going to continue to do this slowly until all the flour is gone. Okay? Okay, now we've added all of our flour mixture, and we're just going to kind of blend that for a few minutes here. Not too much. And now we're just going to fold in our cherries. In fact, I'm just going to add them all at once so I don't over blend the cherries in. Now we're just going to gently give it a turn and fold them cherries in. And one more time. And there you go, we're done. Okay? And our batter is complete. And this right here is our consistency. Now we're just going to pour this into our 2 loaf pans, and we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes. We're going to do the center test with a, well, we've got a little cake tester, but you can use a knife or a steak knife or something, and you just stick it down the middle, and when you pull it back out, none of this doughy stuff here, it shouldn't look like this in the center. I mean, if you have to, you can cover it with foil for the last 10 to 20 minutes of baking. The reason why you do it in the last few minutes is because you've already got that nice crispy top on there going, and then the foil won't stick to the bread like it would if you put it on there, of course, at first, and then it rose up underneath the foil. Now, before I forget, now before you add the cherries, you're supposed to add your cherry oil or your cherry extract. I forgot to do that just now. So I'm just going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of that, and I'm going to blend that in. There you go. I didn't want to do it too much because I already added the cherries, but you get the idea. I should have added the extract before I added the cherries, so duh. Oh, that really smells good. That made a big difference. And that'll make a big difference in the flavor as well. And again, cherry oil, just 3 or 4 drops, will really pump this up. The extract, I use about 1.25 teaspoons to 1.5 teaspoons. Okay, we bake this for about 45-50 minutes. And we got a nice texture on it, and we've rubbed the whole thing, even the bottom, with a stick of butter. It took about 1/4 to 1/2 stick of butter. And of course this sank a little bit because I pressed on it and put foil on it, and I messed that one up. But as you can see, it came out real nice. It's nice and soft. And we've let this cool for a few minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make up a powdered sugar glaze, and then we're just going to put a few cherries that we're going to drain. We're going to slice them in half and put a few cherries across the top. Here's our finished results after we've frosted it with a little bit of glaze and some cherries that we have set on some paper towels to let them drain for a few minutes. And it looks really good. Now let's see how it actually tastes. It's very moist. Mmm. Oh my god. And that would have been good with nuts in it too. That is delicious. Now, to make this go a little redder, excuse me, I'm still eating. To make this go a little redder, all you have to do is add some red food coloring. So I'm happy with it, and I think this recipe is a keeper. And this is Chef Janie, and I hope you've enjoyed how to make my personal recipe that I just made up for cherry bread. And again, you can make it cherry nut bread by adding almonds or walnuts or pecans. Enjoy.